r/AskReddit. Parents of Reddit. What was the worst thing your kid ever did that made you momentarily wish you didn't have kids? I'm 15 weeks pregnant and have a 15-month-old. For those who haven't been pregnant before, the first trimester is brutal for exhaustion. With my first, I slept 10 hours a night and took a 2-hour nap every day. These days I'm incredibly lucky if I get 7 hours a night, and definitely no nap. So one day about a month ago I barely slept because I had insomnia at night, and my kid relentlessly wakes up between 5:30 a.m. and 6:30 a.m. I was dead on my feet, so I decided to try and lie down on the couch, and maybe catch a cat nap while my kid played. He saw me lying on the couch, walked up to me and head-butted me as hard as he could, right in the bridge of the nose. I heard a crunch and could have sworn it was broken, it hurt so badly. In that moment, I regretted every life decision that had led me to that point. My very mature adult response was to burst into hysterical tears and ask him why he's so mean to me. I think that freaked him out more than yelling would have. That definitely was a more impactful response than yelling. I mean, duck, it made me feel guilty. When my then 3 or 4-year-old daughter asked me very loudly why I don't have down boobies like the older lady in the swimming pool change room that was standing right next to us getting dressed. She actually laughed and said to enjoy my up boobies while I still had them, but I was still dying inside. My 4-year-old daughter, at the time, slapped a 3-week-old newborn across the face immediately upon meeting her. Just like my brother greeted me. First some gentle strokes on my newborn head, to gain trust maybe, and the bam, a slap in the face, and off he ran. I don't think he liked sharing our mom's attention. My toddler sometimes gets so excited that it's hard for him to judge how hard he's touching something. This is part of why we have at babies from a safe distance. We practice using our gentle hands with his stuffed animals. Asserting dominance is important at any age. My then 2-year-old puked, which landed in my open mouth. I wish the Goblin King would come for him then. When I was about 8, I woke up feeling sick, so went to wake my parents. I decided to pick my dad to help me that night, and right as I opened my mouth to wake him, I threw up all over him. From his stomach to his face. I'm now in my 20s and he still calls it the rude awakening. I just laughed so hard, I cried a little bit. The rude awakening is the best dad joke. Momentarily? I had to take my wife to the emergency room early one morning for intense stomach pain. Our kids were 2 and 3, and it was about 1 a.m., so they went with us. I packed a bag with snacks and toys, and loaded everyone up. It was the middle of the night when we got there, but we still had to park a significant distance from the entrance. When wife was back with the doc, my son, 2 years old, was running around and playing. He bumped his head lightly and started shrieking an ungodly banshee wail. I decided we would wait in the car and maybe drive around a little, and they'd hopefully go to sleep. So I'm carrying the bag and 2 struggling angry demon preschoolers the quarter-mile to the car. At this point my son isn't shrieking, but he's not happy. We encountered an elderly couple and my daughter, 3 years old, looks them dead in the face and says, "Hey, he's not my parent." I was exhausted and frustrated, and my arms were tired from carrying them. I didn't want to stop and have the conversation, and I panicked a little. I sped up, got to the car, loaded them up and left in a hurry. I didn't get arrested, though I was glad at the time. Now I'm kinda pissed that the old folks just let me go. Here are the kids, officer. Runs away. Sir, are these your kids? Yes, but I don't really want them. But sir, they're your well, they're yours now. Runs away, leaving the officer with a lifetime of banshee demon children. Using his poop as a weapon to fling at kids in kindergarten. I wished if I used protection that day. On the plus side, we have more proof humans evolved from a monkey-like ancestor. When my son was 4, we were in the checkout line at the grocery store. There was a very obese man 2 people ahead of us, and unfortunately my son spotted him. He points and says very loudly, "Mommy. Look how fat that man is." My insides go cold. People around us are trying not to laugh. I say in a very firm voice, "Yes, that's not a nice thing to say." To which he replies, "But he's really fat." Then I tell him to just be quiet. It was the longest I've ever waited to check out. Oh man, gotta love the lack of filter on kids. My favorite time was when this big, mean lady bent over in front of my son and he said, "You need to pull up your pants." I can see your whole butt and that's inappropriate. I thought I would die. Once at the mall, my then 2-year-old saw a very old woman shuffling by with her sunken eyes and pinched skin, and got very excited, yelling, "A zombie. Look mama, that's a zombie." I tried so hard not to laugh, but I completely failed. The other day my 5-year-old walks up to a group of Indian women and loudly goes, "What's with the dots on your foreheads?" Pause. No response. "What's with the dots on your foreheads?" I drag him away saying it's part of their religion blah blah blah, and he goes, "What's a religion?" Clearly nailing this whole parenting thing. Early 90s, and as my mom and I were walking out of the library, we see a group of mohawk-haired, leather-wearing, metal stud sporting punks. In my infinite toddler wisdom I pointed and shouted, "Look mom, pirates." My mother says she thought we were going to be murdered. Alas, punks are regular people who also laugh when little kids do funny crap. Wouldn't matter what I was wearing, if a toddler pointed me out and said, "Look, a pirate." That would just make my day. It was early morning, and I was sleeping in my bed. My 2-year-old woke up before me, and decided that she was going to wake me as well. She climbed out of her bed, went into the kitchen, made a set of stairs to get the kitchen knives, grabbed a knife, and headed to my bed. She climbed into my bed, and stabbed me an inch below my eye. I woke with her holding said knife over my head, and her giggling like the bride of Chucky. Grab the priest. 2-year-olds can walk, climb, talk, sorta, and attempt both murder and suicide, all in like the same 30 seconds. Parenting a particularly wild one is a lot like spending 12 hours trying to dress a badger in a leotard. Throw the whole child away. I have 2 girls who are about 6 months apart in age, adopted. One morning I woke up to the worst horror. The younger one managed to climb into the older one's crib, and then they proceeded to strip each other naked and paint each other, and what they could of the crib and room, in each other's shit. Seeing them both standing there grinning gave the phrase shit-eating grin a whole new meaning. It was a shitty morning to say the least. Not a parent, just an older brother raising sisters. One of them is a compulsive liar and loves to throw tantrums when things don't go her way. I typically just tell her that I don't care when she starts. It usually results in her keeping quiet for a bit. 2. One time when my younger 2 were toddlers, 3 years and 4 years, they decided to piss inside a bunch of cups that the rest of us drink from. 3. Last horror story that hit me the hardest. I decided to take a nap for about an hour. The baby gate was up, the TV was on, and they were pretty entertained. I woke up from my nap to wake up to 2 kids without diapers on, one covered in SHT, the living room being trashed, and worst of all, my Yu-Gi-Oh cards, 1,000 plus cards being scattered around and torn to absolute shreds. RIP my heretic dragon deck. Not a parent but the kid. At 2.5 years old I went to kindergarten for the very first time. Most kids cry, I didn't. I slapped the teacher in the face when she bent over to greet me. Pretty sure my mom regretted having a second kid. Around the same time, or a little later, I took the bus with my mom. At one point a nice African gentleman boarded. Now, it is important to know that at this point I had not seen a lot of people of color. Apparently, when I saw him, I pointed at him and screamed, "Lock mommy, a chocolate man." The man laughed his ass off while my mom wanted to die from embarrassment. Waiting in a long line with my 6-year-old son. He starts to complain about his legs hurting. I explain we have to wait and he needs to suck it up and deal. He then loudly exclaims, "Why does he get a seat?" Pointing to a man in a wheelchair 2 places behind us. I wanted the biggest rock I could hide under. As a wheelchair user, that would have made me laugh, so don't even worry about it. I probably would have replied, "Oh, I always get a seat, honey." My son was in 4th grade when we got an email from his teacher that he stole some things from another kid. Low grade stuff, and he was working through some things, so it was sorted out with some discipline and coaching. My daughter is in 2nd grade and is quite the sass machine. Her mouth is going to get her in some shit one of these days. I've just come to realize that all kids are assholes, it's just a matter of when and for how long. You might not like them, just as long as you love them. One morning I was trying to enjoy a cup of coffee. As I was taking a sip my 4-year-old walked up and, with the tiniest balled up fist, punched me right in the coffee cup, which in turn whacked off of my front teeth. Nothing broke thank goodness, but damn I was absolutely stunned. I couldn't believe what had just happened. All I could do was sit there and stare at him in shock.